Get your copy of Layla Ali's book, Reach, by clicking the link in the description. Iron Mike Tyson versus James Lights Out Toney at heavyweight. Let's get into it. This fight has been on my mind for a few days, but I promise I will get back to the request. But I just had to do this fight. Of course, I'm seeing this fight take place in the early 2000s when James Toney was campaigning at heavyweight. And at this time, Iron Mike was still a factor. James Toney really did well for himself at heavyweight. And at this point, a Mike Tyson fight would have been ideal. Now, Mike wasn't the Tyson of old. He still possessed that head movement, and power is the last thing to go. So Mike still had that devastating power and enough speed to compete with Toney. So let's dig a little deeper into each fighter. James Toney fought in 4 weight divisions, from middleweight to super middleweight, cruiserweight, all the way up to heavyweight. He has names on his resume such as Roy Jones Jr., Montel Griffin, Vasily Girov, Evander Holyfield, just to name a few. James Toney utilized the Philly shell defense and the shoulder roll so beautifully and countered effectively off of it. And his peekaboo style was outstanding. I love the way James fought at close quarters, the way he rolled with the punches while delivering punishment. Toney's hands were so quick that he could get away with things like throwing lead uppercuts. And to be honest, if James Toney came in with the right conditioning, he could give Tyson serious issues. Iron Mike Tyson is the true definition of a man who needs no introduction. Tyson is probably the most naturally gifted fighter in the history of boxing. His seek and destroy style, in conjunction with his head movement, hand speed, footwork, bobbing and weaving, and devastating power, has made Tyson legendary. Like Ivan Drago's promoter in Rocky IV said, whatever he hits, he destroys. So at this point in both of their careers, expect a battle of egos. Expect Tyson to be the bull and expect Toney to be the matador. And your money is either on the bull or the matador. Now, the way I see it, Toney had the speed advantage, but Tyson had the power and strength advantage. The beautiful thing about this fight is they're both around the same age and fought during the same era. Tyson is a career heavyweight, while Toney worked his way up, which could be something to consider in this contest. James Toney's most notable fights at heavyweight was Evander Holyfield and John Ruiz, which he dominated and looked great in both of those fights. Now, as I mentioned earlier, at this point in Tyson's career, he showed signs of slowing down, but he was still a dangerous fighter who possessed that same power that he possessed back in the 80s. Now, we saw how Toney stopped Holyfield in his tracks and put on a clinic against Ruiz. So the question is, would he have the same success against Iron Mike Tyson? Could he evade the onslaughts while countering effectively? Or can Tyson intimidate Toney, use what he has left of that great footwork to get inside, use some of that old head movement and some of that old bobbing and weaving, using his size and strength advantage to bully Toney? The way I see it, Toney was on the upswing while Tyson was on the downslide. Now, I normally don't buy into triangle theories, but this is the one time I have to make an exception for obvious reasons. And if Toney could capitalize on his superior hand speed against Holyfield, then imagine what he could do against Tyson, whom Holyfield beat twice. Not to mention, Tyson was nearing the end of his career at this point. So in light of everything that I've said in this analysis, I see James Lights Out Toney defeating Tyson via Tyson's first decision loss. Let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next video. I am not an expert. I'm just a fan, and I've never claimed to be an expert. I've been watching boxing since 1989, and I've learned a lot of things from a spectator standpoint, but I've never claimed that those things can actually make up for or substitute actually being in the ring. And I actually have an appreciation for fighters who put their lives and their health on the line for our entertainment. And sometimes you can go from one extreme to the other. You have some fans that they don't appreciate what the fighters go through and what the fighters face anytime they step through those ropes. But then the other extreme is, if you haven't fought, you shouldn't say anything about boxing. And let me just say this. If the fans are talking, that means the fans are watching. If we're buying the fights, if we're contributing our time and our viewership to these fights, the least you can do is just let us have an opinion. Even if that opinion is off. A true professional will just move on and understand that there's no such thing as bad publicity. And I'm just guessing that Floyd Mayweather made more money off of his haters wanting to see him lose than he did his fans. That's just a hunch. So if we have an opinion, if we're talking, because we need each other. Because let's be honest, if a fighter doesn't have fans, then what is he fighting for? You have to have fans, you have to have spectators, and you have to have critics. It just comes with the territory. But you as a fighter benefit from it all. And I can't say enough how much I appreciate how you all put your lives on the line just for the sake of my entertainment. I mean, you get mad respect for that. But I just don't want to be excluded from the conversations because I've never stepped in the ring. Because I've been following the sport as a spectator since 1989. So you're trying to tell me in all that time that I haven't learned anything about the sport, that I don't know what a jab, left hook, uppercut, right cross looks like, that I don't recognize any of the defensive maneuvers? And can you really use the argument, I've never stepped in the ring and I can't say anything, even if I make a statement that's true? Once again, we need each other. You know, most of us true fans really enjoy watching you guys fight and put your skills, your talents, your hearts, and your wills on display. But what fun is it if we can't talk about the sport, if we can't say anything? And a true professional, someone who is truly at the top, do you really care what we say? As long as we're buying the pay-per-views, as long as we're contributing viewership. So I'll just say we just need to cool off a little bit, turn down the temperature, and just enjoy it. Now, I know you guys that are actually in the ring, I don't know how much you all are enjoying being in there. Like I said, I can't say it enough. I really appreciate what you do. I really do. But I just want to take part in the conversations, in the debates. That's all. As a longtime fan. And what fan of anything can't say anything, can't have an opinion? If I can't have an opinion, if I can't say anything, if I can't take part in the conversations, I'm not really a fan. What fan is silent? What basketball fan is silent? What baseball or football fan is silent? Those guys are always talking. They're always spectating. They're always self-commentating, for lack of a better term. So, why can't boxing fans talk? Why must we be silent? Just think about it. I'll see you on the next video. If you like the channel, please share, promote, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it.